We're back in France and the race for the title is on a knife edge. Points are at a premium for the 30 elite combinations, who include Olympic gold medalist, world number one and the current series leader. It's all to play for here at the historic Haras De Jardy. This is eventing reinvented. This is the Event Rider Masters.
This weekend, the International Eventing Show here at Haras De Jardy hosts some of the world's best. Located just outside of Versailles, this famous stud with its incredible architecture and centuries-old stables, along with the top-class facilities here, mean we're in for a real treat. 7 of the world's top 20 ranked riders, 7 former leg winners and 7 different nations represented in the field. It is a pivotal point in the series and we cannot wait to see how all of the action unfolds. A very warm welcome to Jardy, wherever you are joining us from. We're delighted to have you with us and we hope that you'll stay with us throughout the weekend as well, because you won't miss any of the action here at eventridermasters.tv. Delighted to say, joining me in the studio, double world champion Blythe Tate. Blythe, delighted to have you with us.
Thanks, Nicole. I'm very excited to be back. I've missed being part of the Event Rider Masters, so to come back and be part of the commentary, I'm really looking forward to it.
And Mark, international dressage judge, you're going to be giving us your expert opinion. It's a competitive phase this weekend.
It gets more and more exciting each leg. It just gets better and better, and we've got my favourite surfaces, so it enables the best tests.
Well, we'll be looking forward to those best tests and the dressage taking place in around 25 minutes' time. But of course, we are leg 4 in this series, leg 3, just a few weeks ago in beautiful Belgium in Arville. Now, we all know that the Event Rider Masters gives us the most dramatic finishes, but nothing could have prepared us for what happened in Arville.
Last year's Arville winner Chris Burton put himself in a strong position to retain his title on Quality Purdy, the pair scoring 29.7 for their test. Fellow Australian Bill Levitt, who also scored a podium finish here last year, followed suit with an excellent test on Shannondale Titan, matching his compatriot's score of 29.7 to share second place after dressage. But it was 2017 Event Rider Masters champion Gemma Tattersall and Quicklook who impressed the judges the most during the opening phase. The pair earned a 28.8 for their test to lead the pack by 0.9 penalties, going on to show jumping. An intense arena awaited the field, with course designer Wilfred Thebes posting a series of tricky questions on a tight track. Bill Levitt and Shannondale Titan added 1.2 time penalties to their dressage score, leaving the door open for Tim Price and Westcote. A foot-perfect clear saw the Le Moulin winner climb into third on the live podium. Reigning Arville champion Chris Burton and Quality Purdy kept the pressure on the podium places with their smooth, clear show-jumping performance, the Australian finishing the phase in second. But dressage leaders Gemma Tattersall and Quicklook held their nerve in the second phase, jumping clear to maintain their top spot on the live leaderboard going into the cross-country. Day 2 at leg 3 of the 2019 Event Rider Masters in Arville, Belgium. Despite finishing 17 seconds over the Optimum, Janelle Price and Fairy Dianimo jumped clear to finish on 39.1 and secure their place on the podium. Tim Price built on the family's outstanding performances recently as the Kiwi riding Westcote became the day's only pair to jump clear and inside the Optimum to go to the top of the live podium. Last year's Arville winner Chris Burton looked on track to take the top spot again, this time on Quality Purdy. The combination completed the course 1 second onto the Optimum, only to discover they'd been penalised at fence 11 for activating a frangible device. And it was drama right to the last, as the final combination on course Gemma Tattersall and Quicklook picked up 20 penalties at the SAP Water Corner at 5C. The pair retired from competition after leading the opening 2 phases, leaving FEI world number 1 Tim Price to take his first ever Event Rider Masters victory, ahead of wife Janelle Price and Australia's Chris Burton.
Well, after 3 legs in the series, let's take a look at how the series standings are shaping up. Chris Burton, the 2018 defending champion, out in front, 54 points. Janelle Price, 46 points, 8 points behind, hot on his heels. Then Bill Levitt, Sarah Cohen, both coming forward with their long-time partners Shannondale, Titan and Treason this weekend. And our leg winners, Tim Price, Laura Collett and Michael Young, also ones to keep an eye on. Well, let's take a moment just to review Arville in just a second, because, Mark, we couldn't have thought it would be any more dramatic than it was.
No, it was like if you were going to write a script, you would have written that script, and you thought it was just unbelievable to the last and really opened up the whole series.
Well, it opens up the whole series, and something that opens up the whole series even more is that breaking news here in Jardy is that the series leader Chris Burton, who's travelled out with Lawtown Chloe, who was on the podium with in Wiesbaden, has withdrawn. He will not be coming forward, the horse not feeling quite right. We'll hear from him a little bit later on. He's going to explain that, and I think he'll be part of our commentary team a little bit later on. But Mark, for the series, that is huge because the door is open now.
Yeah, well, it leaves Laura, Tim and Michael, I think, like snapping at the heels of going forward and being into the lead for the rest of the season.
Well, Blythe, currently in second, a lady you know very well. She's been your teammate on many occasions, Janelle Price. She's a fierce competitor, but do you think it's fair to say that actually the pressure is on her this weekend?
Absolutely. I mean, Sarah and Bill, who are just behind them, are known for their consistency. They're on experienced horses and they always deliver a solid performance. But Janelle's riding a horse she's not so used to this leg. But if I was a betting man, I'd back Janelle every time. She's a fierce competitor.
Well, one thing that we know for certain is that the series leaderboard is going to change dramatically here this weekend. We'll come on to that again a little bit later on. But one of the things in the Event Rider Masters series we love is our partnership with technology giants SAP. So many ways that you can get involved this weekend in the Event Rider Masters action as well. We're going to come on to those in just a moment, because I think it's time we went and said a very good morning to the man who gives us all the facts, all the figures this weekend. Decker ratings on hand. Morning, Dan.
Good morning, Nicole. Yes, look, we've been talking about all the action on the field in this series, but one of the key things that SAP have been bringing to the world of eventing is the fan engagement, is something for the fans to be able to get involved with at home. The first, as we know by now, big success, spectator judging. So all of the tests that we're going to see all across today, we can judge ourselves. So putting in those marks. That brings us to stacks. Stacks, as you know, our prediction game. The first question, the first rider in here, Nicholas Brashorer, is coming in. They scored 40.1 at Arville. The first question, will they go into the 30s here? So if you can continue to answer questions correctly, you build your stack. We know how it works at this stage, available for download in the App Store. Both of those games, whether it's spectator judging, whether it's stacks, they both count to your fan league points. That's available at eventridermasters.tv. Of course, thank you for all of the generous donations to Hannah's Wilbury Wonder Pony charity. It's been a big part of the Event Rider Masters this year, and come tomorrow we'll be able to look at the trackers out there that SAP have provided to check on all of the cross-country rounds. Lots to get involved with, Nicole. Hopefully the first rider goes into the 30s. Hopefully the stacks begin to build, but yes, we're all involved.
Well, make sure you play along at home. I've put my stacks in, and I think Mark Ruddock is the stacks expert this weekend. So can you beat the number that he can build? Find out. You can download it for free in your app store. But of course, there's loads of ways you can get involved in the Event Rider Masters series, and one of those is joining the Event Rider Masters Platinum Club. You can find out more information on the website, but there's lots of behind-the-scenes access, exclusive content, and we've got 2 very exciting behind-the-scenes yard visits coming up, one with Bill Levitt on the 11th of August and one with Laura Collett on the 23rd of July. You're not too late to be part of those, so if you're interested, go to eventridermasters.tv for more information. Well, you'll have us here in the studio throughout the weekend as well. You've got Dermot Ecker Corner and one lady who we are delighted to have back here with us this weekend, having given birth just a few short weeks ago. I think it's time we went and said a very good morning and a welcome back to Hannah White.
Good morning, Nicole. What a pleasure it is to be back here. The sun is shining and we have a weekend of spectacular competition lined up for you. I've really missed the whole Event Rider Masters family, and you have had some cracking competition while I've been away. But this weekend we've got 30 of the world's top riders and horses gathered here in France on the outskirts of Paris and about to get underway and see who takes that top of that podium tomorrow. The dressage gets underway in just a couple of minutes behind me, and we can't wait to get started.
Well, we are creeping ever closer to the action now, and we will be looking forward to seeing who can top the podium here in Jardy. It was Michael Young in 2017, Alex Bragg, the defending champion. He won last year with Zagreb. So let's just take a look at what is... Set the scene for us here, Mark, because the sun is shining. It's the most glorious setting.
But it's so close to Paris to start with, and every event I go to, I say it's an event rider's bucket list. But another one for the bucket list is a must-have to come here. The history, the setting, the all the arenas, the facilities, the stables, just fantastic. And then added this quality field.
And in terms of the facilities, Blythe, I mean, we're in for a real treat because it is a permanent surface for both the dressage and the jumping.
Yeah, and I think that's very important because everybody gets a fair chance. It's the same for the last competitor as it is for the first competitor. Every horse gets the opportunity to perform to their best, especially in the jumping phase. So looking forward to that.
Well, we'll be looking forward to it. Have you ever competed here?
No, I haven't, and I don't quite know why.
It's never too late, Blythe.
If I make another comeback, I'll be here next year.
Well, we'll be looking forward to the action here. Who can be crowned Jardy 2019 champion? Well, the man that we always ask as to what it takes to win one of these Event Rider Masters legs is Dan. Let's go to Ecker Corner.
Nicole, one of the things that you come back to me every time you put me in the corner, ask me what it takes to win. I tell you, you've got to do a very good dressage test. You've got to show jump clear. Of course, we've only had 2 winners who've ever knocked a pole. And you've got to be fast, and you've got to jump clear cross country. Okay, let's take jumping clear cross country as a given. This is not going to be a test this weekend like Chatsworth, where you can say it's certainly about the time. This is not, for me, going to be a jumping test like maybe Arveal, where you can say it's been 50% as a clear rate for so long. This all points to me as a first phase competition. This points, like when we give it over to the prediction centre, the eventing prediction centre, only once in 11 competitions using the machine learning that SAP Predictive Analytics have given us, have we not got the winner in the top 5. So let's hand over and see what the machine actually thinks. It's picking out 3 British ladies on top. Gemma Tattersall, 16% win chance. Emily King on Brookley next, 13%, and Laura Collett de Capo. These are the 3 big names, all very experienced in the first phase. And don't forget, at Bramham this year, all sub 24 in that first phase as well. You do, I think, need to be very good in the first phase if you're going to compete as a winner here, and I'm sure we're going to have the guys talking about that. When it comes to show jumping, it really varies. So 2 years ago, we had a brilliant dressage test. The clear rate was the toughest ever, 8%. But actually last year it was one of the highest ever at 31%. It really varies in the show jumping, but if you're going to win, I would say you've got to keep the poles up. Cross country, very high clear rates for jumping here, and then the time really varies. Every second year we were seeing a trend of 0, nobody making the time. 11, 14 and 16. Since the Event Rider Masters classes have arrived, they've been in around 1 in 5, even 1 in 3. I'm going to hand over to the prediction centre. The prediction centre is telling me it is all about the first phase. I think we will see our winner in the top 4 probably after dressage today. Back to you, Nicole.
Well, Equirating's calling it as a dressage competition here this weekend. I've walked Pierre Michelet's cross-country track, and I think it's going to be a little bit tougher in 2019. But we are creeping ever closer to the action here. Let's go back to Hannah.
Well, it is a spectacular lineup here this weekend, and I can tell you that I've got 4 of those riders right behind me. But as you have heard, the news out today is that the current series leader, Christopher Burton, won't be running this weekend, and he joins me now. Chris, tell me a little bit about why you've chosen to withdraw Nortin Chloe.
Yes, very sadly, we've made the decision to pull her out. The blood results came back from the vet, and it is bacterial, so it's some kind of travel sickness or something like that. So I'm glad we made the decision not to run her. And she's in good hands. She's been treated medically, and hopefully we can get her right.
Now, obviously, you are leading the series, so this is quite a blow to your series contention. But you can now be very, well, you can step back and look at all these other amazing riders. Who do you think will top the podium this weekend?
Oh, that's a good question. I'm quite enjoying it, actually. I'll sit back and be an armchair critic and watch everyone. But I think it's wide open. I think these guys to my right will be fighting it out, and I can't wait.
And of course, there's quite a strong French contingent here this weekend, competing on home turf. Any of the French guys you think could put these guys through their paces?
Yeah, I think they'll be out to win it here. That's for sure. There's all the top French guys that we know are here. So I don't know. I'll wait and see. Really. Good luck, everyone.
Okay, Chris. Well, we wish Nortin Chloe a very quick recovery, and we hope to see you back in Mill Street. Continue that quest to get to the top of the series leader. Sarah Cohen has been a firm favourite here in 2019. Sarah, you've taken part in loads of the events, and it's been great to see you at so many. You've been there or thereabouts, but I hear you've been working behind the scenes pretty hard for this event.
Yeah, our preparation's been good for this event, so we shall see what happens. We just sort of tend to run the whole season through, around these ERMs because it suits Treason and he loves it. And yeah, it's a great series for him. So yeah, he's pretty consistent in the dressage, but I have had a few sneaky lessons, and yeah, I feel that's improved. So we shall see. And then show jumping, we've managed to get out a few times. We'll see with that, and then hopefully he'll stick to his, his usual stuff cross country. But it's a tough track out there, It's not massive, but it's quite technical. So yeah, we shall see.
You've got 2 children. It's not easy juggling motherhood and coming here and competing, especially when you've only got 1 horse. How do you do it?
Well, we've got quite a good balance. And actually, Charlie, daughter, she's lost her first tooth this morning, so missed that. And Alfie's come here with me, so he's been having a great time behind the scenes. He's been loving it. So it's been good fun.
So Miles, your husband, is in charge of the Tooth Fairy this weekend.
Yes, the Tooth Fairy will be visiting tonight, I should think.
Wow, she might get a good payout. I think it would be good. We're going to come next to Alex Bragg, defending champion here in Jardy. You were here last year with Zagreb. You're here with Alcatraz this weekend. Tell us about Alcatraz and what your expectations are.
Well, Alcatraz was a new horse to me last year. We ran through at only what would be 3-star last season, and he stepped up to this level just recently. He did a fairly good job in Arville, I think, and we learnt a lot from that. First time sort of competing in this type of heat. It's a little bit cooler today, which will be nice for him. And yeah, we've just tweaked a few things, and hopefully we'll put in a better performance here and feature a little bit higher up the leaderboard on the final day.
Alex, what does it take to win here at Jardy? Because unlike some of the other events, the cross-country isn't quite as influential.
Yeah, I think it's at most events it's just being the best on the day. You need to be near the top after the dressage, and then just post that double clear. The show jumping is quite influential. It's big, so you want to be on a good, careful jumper. He's very good at that phase, and he's nippy for this twisty technical track, and it's flatter here, so I think he'll be able to gallop right to the finish. So yeah, hopefully I can just post something that'll put us in that top half a dozen maybe. After the dressage, and then just hang on to it.
Okay, good luck, Alex. And finally to Gemma Tattersall. Gemma, somebody that knows about very good dressage tests. You're here on Pebbles, quick look. You've had a mixed start to the season. Your first 2 phases are impeccable, and you struggled a little bit with cross country. Is this the weekend, Gemma?
I hope so. My ERM series so far this year has been pretty shocking, but let's see if we can improve. Pebbles, quick look, won at Bramham. She posted a fantastic cross-country round there. At Arville, for whatever reason, she wasn't with me. We made a mistake at the first water, and she's so precious to all of us that there's no point in trying to carry on for a lower placing. So I brought her home. We've had a little cross-country school at home and had a little practice, and she seems to be on great form. So let's hope we can get past fence 5 this time.
Well, the Equi Ratings Prediction Centre have got you down to win at 12%. That's the highest of any competitor here. What do you think about that?
I, to be honest with you, don't look at any of that. I'm just here to enjoy competing. The owners, some of Pebbles' owners have come out. It's a wonderful place. Pebbles absolutely loves all this sunshine and people watching her, so we're just going to do our best.
Okay, well, 4 amazing competitors here, 3 of whom could take that top of the podium this weekend. It's all to play for, Nicole.
Well, let's take a look at the order in which those combinations will be coming forward to the dressage. Nicholas Bushkor, Lord Shostakovich get us underway. Some influential names in that first session. Tom McEwen, CHF Coolizer, Tom on the podium at Chatsworth a little bit earlier on at this season. Michael Young, the 2017 winner here as well. He comes forward with Kriva Cooley. Then in the second session, we've got Janelle Price, Gravine Darev. Of course, Janelle currently sitting second in the series behind Chris Burton and Sarah Cohen-Treason. We heard from Sarah there. They'll both be looking to capitalise with series points. Then here come the 10 combinations with the best dressage averages in the field. Gemma Tattersall, quick look, Equi Ratings as favourite to top the leaderboard after dressage, the likes of Emily King, Brookley, but the home crowd will be cheering on for Thibaut Valette, King de Brio, who were on the podium in the first ever Event Rider Masters leg at Chatsworth back in 2016. Hugely experienced that combination as well, and the French would absolutely love to have one of their home riders on the podium here this weekend. But what we really want to know is what it is going to take in the dressage this weekend. Who are the key contenders? Let's go back to Equi Ratings Corner.
The first phase, Nicole, we've mentioned how important it is. 30.6. It is the lowest average of any ERM venue. So this is a place, whether it's the surface, and there is a big atmosphere out here, and you can expect to hear the guys on commentary talking about that atmosphere. We've had some high profile horses. I remember Don Gennaro a couple of years ago frightened by with some big ornament that was in there. So like, it is a place where there's big atmosphere, but it is also a place where we see very, very good tests. How do we pick them? I mean, we've talked about Gemma, we've talked about Emily. I do expect those guys to be right up there. One of the things we've been talking about, whether it's on podcast, whether it's on commentary, is the 6 RA, the 6 run average. And you guys at home can do this. You just take your last 6 dressage tests, any level, add them together, divide by 6. You're getting your average of your last 6 runs. It's a really simple but really good indicator of where these tests are likely to end up. When we look at the 6 RA for this field, again, quick look coming out on 24.9. King de Brio, Thibaut Valette, don't discount a couple of those riders coming in late, 26. De Capo 26.6, Brookley 26.8. All of those averages going to be brought down by the really big Bramham score, maybe for quick look brought up a little bit by the higher score at Arville. What I will be looking at here is, as a general rule, I'm expecting probably 3, 4, 5 horses to be in around the 25 mark. Maybe Gemma touches it a little bit below, and perhaps Brookley as well. I think, you're going to have Blythe on there talking about New Zealand. I don't think Gravine Darev is going to be down there. We had Alex Bragg talking about Alcatraz maybe being in the top half dozen. I would say that's probably about right. There are plenty of very good tests in here. I would be saying you're probably looking at maybe even 10 who could be sub 30. I think you've got to be sub 30 if you're going to have any.
Well, just losing down at the end there. Apologies for that. But 10 sub 30 finishes is the prediction from Equi Ratings. Derm knows how much I love an Equi Ratings prediction. So let's take a moment. Blythe Tate, Mark Ruddock in the studio with me. Guys, let's take a moment for our key contenders, because this first session of dressage has some big names in it. And the dressage is seeded in the Event Rider Masters. So an average of up to the last 5 qualifying results for each of the combinations at this level is taken, and then that splits the group into 3 groups. So in theory, the later tests will include the ones that are going to be leading after the first phase. But Michael Young comes forward with Kriva Cooley, a horse that hasn't competed at this level, so is in theory unseeded. He actually came out first here a couple of years ago. or might have even been last year, and absolutely, Mark, from first draw, set the standard.
Well, I would think, looking at that batch, and given he's unseeded, I think Michael could be hanging on to the lead until we go to the final 10. Wouldn't surprise me at all.
Well, we're getting underway now here in Jardy, leg 4 of the 2019 Event Rider Masters Series, and it is Niklas Beskora for Germany who starters off. Lord Shostakovich, a horse who actually he came forward with in Arville just a few weeks ago. Scored 40.1 on that occasion. The Echo Stacks question, can he break into the 30s?
I think the question is, yes, he can, if he keeps a lid on it.
Now, talk to us a little bit about this horse, Mark, because in Arville, his trot work was particularly exceptional.
He was trending a really low mark, and then in Arville, he's suddenly in the left half pass, just whipped round, and I think he did it somewhere else as well. I think Blythe had seen him do it somewhere else. So it's just obviously a tension thing, because it's not a lack of ability. The horse is stunning and supple and finds it all very easy, but it's almost like he finds it a bit boring.
Yeah, and when you see him gallop across country, you know that he's you know, that's his thing. But a good start so far. I mean, it's shown lots of activity, and he looks quite settled today.
And I would say this arena would be much more unsettling than Arville. It's much more on top, it's much more contained. But it's things like that that shows a little bit of tension in the halts, where he's not actually wanting to halt. And
is the halt meant to be at A?
It's meant to be at A, and he was way off. But I wonder, with a horse like this, sometimes you have to go with, like, the horse is like, we're going to halt, and you wouldn't want to actually argue with him. So this is in Arville, where he started to get really tricky.
Well, so far, definitely so good for Niklas Beskora.
I thought he might have been slightly trending more. I think we can't really see I think his mouth's quite open, I think.
What does that mean?
Tension. So the horse needs to be settled in the mouth, and we like a little bit of froth, we like a bit of foam, which says it's accepting the bit. But with him, you can see that at times his mouth was opening, and as he goes past the judges, they're saying that's tension. We need relaxation in the jaw and the poll. And there's a very good shot there, just what I was saying. Yeah, and then in the walk, you can see he wasn't taking the nose forward, so he's not really accepting the bit, which is a tension thing. And it's not easy to ride them like that, Blythe, is it?
Sorry, what's
that? It's not easy to ride them when they're that.
No, and I mean, if the horse walks really well, it seems like the walk's very short, and if it doesn't walk so well, it seems like the walk movement is very long.
And it's that thinking, actually, it's taken me an hour to get across the arena. And I think he covered that up quite well.
Yeah.
But it's where they'll be just knocking the marks off is because the nose just needs to be a bit more consistently in front of the vertical. But the horse is allowing him to ride it, and this is the first sign of a late change behind. But he rather was a bit freewheeled.
Yeah, I mean, this horse would be difficult to engage because of the activity that he's got, and so he's trying to keep him at this stage nice and relaxed, and unfortunately wasn't quite connected for the change, so hopefully better on the other rein.
But it's interesting, the judge at E gave him a 7, but the judge at E will be in a completely different position, and I think we probably need to discuss different angles of where you sit. Makes a completely different view. So you do expect, when judges aren't quite even, it is where they're sitting. Like the judge at, I think it's Les Smith at E, and he will see the frame more. It will annoy him more than it will judge the short side. And he just lets it a little bit freewheeling, I think, really. And it's like, you just do the change however you want, really.
But it was a better second change, would you say?
No.
He was still late behind, unfortunately.
Yeah. It was freer.
He's got a very big canter, so he should score well for this forward, extended to medium.
But I think it's more, you see, like here he's quite crooked, but it'd be more given the horse's form in the arena. He's had a clear round.
Well, he really has. Niklas Beskora, Lord Shostakovich, who had a good deal of tension, particularly in the second half of their test in Arville, put that behind them here in Jardy, and they're trending mid-30s. Niklas, such a talented young rider.
He'll be happy with that.
Well, the first combination have done their test here in Jardy, Nicholas Bushgora, Lord Shostakovich. And certainly Nicholas pleased with that test. Improvement on their first Event Rider Masters appearance for this combination. And we'll confirm his score for you as soon as it does come through. 35.5 is the provisional score. So the first of 29 combinations having done their test. That is Tom McEwen, CHF Coolizer, who are due in the arena in a couple of minutes' time. They are at third to go. And actually Tom was second on the podium at Chatsworth a little bit earlier on this year. But Nicholas Bushgora, he's with Hannah.
Nicholas, that was a pretty bold test. It's not easy being first out. How did you find it?
No, it's not easy to go to be first. The judges, they have to warm up as well, and but I'm very pleased with them. We had a bit of a scary moment at Aville a couple of weeks ago, so I was maybe a bit too cautious in the canter work, but I'm very happy.
A bit of tension creeping in the second half of the test. Is that atmosphere?
It's atmosphere, of course. I mean, there are quite a few people around, and he's a horse that gets easily excited, so it's quite hard to keep him with me and keep him calm. But he did a good job today, and I'm happy.
Okay, well, best of luck with the jumping phases, Nicholas.
Thank you very much. Thanks.
Well, next to come forward, it is Mateusz Kiemper and Grand Supreme, sole representatives of Poland in this field. 7 different nations represented in total. Mateusz comes forward with Paula Manzak's 11-year-old Grand Supreme by Chef Supreme, making his Event Rider Masters debut. A big year for Poland, the team securing Olympic qualification at Saumur a little bit earlier on this spring.
But not the most balanced start in the canter. It was a little bit lacking engagement, and then we get the skid.
A bit of a wobble on just before the halt.
And I do think it's about being able to start with a very good impression. So the judges are a little bit like, oh, I'm down on the 6 before I even begin. But Les wouldn't have seen the crookedness at E, so that's why the 7 pops out. So being sat in a different position. And I would say this horse could do with taking a breath.
Just a little bit tight, Mark, do you mean?
I mean, everything's happening, but you can see like the rhythm's not always clear. And the suppleness is a little bit, could be better. Like in that half pass, there's some tilting going on. Doesn't help when you've got a white glaze down the reliever face. It highlights to the judges any tilting. So again, it's the tension and the resistance. And I think we forget these event horses are like, they're ready to run for their lives. And to actually come in here and be contained. I don't think we appreciate it enough sometimes.
No, that's true. And I mean, I'm sure that this horse is a very nice jumper, but the whole impression at the moment is it could be a bit more forward and show a bit more impulsion. Good halt and reinback though.
Because actually, normally when the horse is quite tense, that's the bit that can blow them, isn't it? The rein back, because it's so you have to be so onside to do a rein back. You can see that shouldering just varies a little bit.
It started with too much angle, didn't it? And therefore the horse didn't maintain rhythm in the lateral work.
And then, as a judge, we would comment that actually he's less supple to the left than he is to the right. So you would ask your rider, what mark did I give the right one?
Are horses a little bit more like people? They perhaps are right-handed, left-handed?
Totally. And when you train people, they go on about, my horse is stiff to the left, my horse is stiff to the left, and you're a bit like, but what side are you, like, what-sided? And we never seem to appreciate that we're not 50-50, but we somehow give out to the horses, like, blooming thing, it's stiff to the left, you know? They say it's the way they lie in the womb.
They do. Yeah.
Most horses are better to the left.
Okay, then the
Would
right.
you say, Blythe?
Sorry?
Most horses better left.
I'm with you in that. I think that it really depends on the rider.
Yeah.
Because all of my horses seem to be better on one rein than the other, and I tend to think it might have been me. Again, the walk just lacked a little bit of purpose to me, all a bit safe.
And that wasn't really half pass. It was more like a leg yield. But I think, like you were saying, the walk, he had to ride it cautiously because I think underneath him is sat on a boiling boiling bag of tension, I'd say. And then the change we'll see. And as a rider, this is a bit that you really think, oh God. It was clean, but a bit croup high.
Yeah.
He'll be quite pleased with that, actually. So when I say croup high, the horse's bum should not have come up. So it says it came against the leg. And it's just not allowing him, the horse isn't allowing him really in, is he? To show the differences.
Well, I feel that for the bigger canter, we could have seen a bigger frame, and the horse could have taken the nose a bit forward and you know, opened his stride a bit more. But again, he's presenting a very consistent test, and you know, he's getting a relative clear round.
Yeah, and as a rider, you can explain to everybody that sometimes you just have to ride what you have. You can come in with all the ideas, I'm going to break a record.
Yeah,
and then,
well that's right.
That's better.
He's done a good, a clean change on both reins, and that will certainly help his overall score.
And I think, again, we forget that actually you might have an idea of breaking a world record, but the horse might just get out of bed and it's actually, I can't play today. 2 tenths. I think he's done a very tactful job.
Yeah.
You could see there as he came back from that transition how the horse resisted against the hand a little bit, but it wasn't his lack of feel.
And just coming around the corner, you can see the quarters to the right.
Well, Matthews Chiampa making his Event Rider Masters debut with Grand Supreme. And trending in the mid-30s is going to be very close to Nicholas Bushgora, the first combination to go. And news in from Echo Ratings Corner from these first 2 combinations is that they are trending well below expected. They're already +4 penalties to expected at this stage in our field. Derm is sending the message that actually this is going to be a day that we will see plenty of combinations going into the 20s and even a few going sub-25. So that is the early call from Echo Ratings Corner. Matthews Chiampa will get his score in just a second, but a young man making his Event Rider Masters debut is with Hannah.
Mateus, how was that for you?
I think it's not a bad test because my horse is very nervous and I'm very happy.
It's a very atmospheric arena here, isn't it? There's a lot of people, a lot of distractions. Did that have an impact?
Yeah,
the horse is really sensitive, and for sure the arena is not easy for her. But they both did a great job, I think, today. She was really calm, and Matteo did a great job as well, I think.
I'm just trying to look for your score here. I think a 35.4. Are you happy with that?
Yeah, I think it's not a bad result for her, for me.
Okay. Congratulations, Mateus. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Well, 35.4, his score actually trending well below his average of the last 12 months from 7 runs, average dressage of 38.6. So, next to come forward is a young man who actually finished on the podium at Chatsworth a little bit earlier on this year. That was with Figaro van Het Broekhoff, the horse that then went on to finish on the podium in Le Moulin 5-star and has been longlisted for the European Championships. Comes forward this time with CHF Coolizer. This horse owned by David Myers and Vicky Bates, a horse that went really well in 2018, the reigning intermediate champions from Gatcombe, and also second at Blair Castle in the long format 3-star in August. Only stepped up to this level this spring, so a relatively inexperienced horse, but no better man on board, and he is highly regarded as one of the best jockeys at the moment.
A disappointing start. The way he was very progressive into the halt just showed a lack of engagement. But as Nicole was saying, the horse is new to this level, so cantering to halts and stuff is something you develop. So Tom would be like, okay, that's where he's at. And I think we'll see that a little bit in the test, maybe with the changes. That'll give him an educational ride. Because when you move them up a level, Blythe, mid-season, it's quite difficult, isn't it?
Well, they're not established with the tricks. Like, I mean, canter to halt is very different from trot to halt. So, you know, he was very straight on the centre line, but then wasn't able to, as you say, have the engagement to go directly into the halt. But, you know, he'll get there in time, I'm sure.
I mean, yeah, it's all like it's going down to the gym and getting stronger as they get older. The trot work's been lovely in rhythm.
Yeah, definitely.
And then sorry, Tom, I jinxed the medium trot when I said the trot has been a lovely rhythm, and then the medium trot lacked rhythm. So again, quite green in that rein back.
Yeah, just a little bit of resistance.
And you could see by Tom's body language a little bit like he was trying to be like light in the seat and like, would you go back, please? So they had a compromise in that rein back.
What's the expression? You tell a gelding, you ask a mare?
Yeah, and it was. But to be fair, Tom knew he wasn't going to tell that horse that.
I like the shoulder in though.
It's very good laterally, this horse.
So did the judges.
Yeah. Doesn't miss a beat. It's very supple. Horse is very supple naturally.
Yeah, and he's got a good uphill balance and a nice outline.
And conformationally, the horse looks like everything's put together in the right place to make the job easier.
Well, trending 33.5 at the moment. Now, the Echo-Rating Stacks question is actually, can they score below 33.5? 50-50 from over 200 players playing along on the Stacks app. So this is going to be a really interesting one to watch, and I think a few people will see their stacks fall here.
I can't remember what my stack was.
You're the expert, Mark. You're meant to remember these things.
I think Tom is feeling some tension, I'd say, in the horse, because actually he just let that walk just amble across.
Again, yeah, if he could really ride the horse, I'm sure he'd ask for more. But at first time in a big atmosphere like this, you said he's very good in the lateral work, and he is. The positioning is
perfect,
better, and the horse stays in exactly the same rhythm.
So the canter's naturally lovely and uphill. There's some tension in the suppleness a little bit through the short sides of the turns. So it'd be interesting with the change. A very green. Right. Yeah. Very green.
How would the judges mark that?
It should be a 1 because it didn't happen at all. But they maybe kind of give it a 2. But it trotted through it.
The mare only stepping up to the level this year, so still very much 4-2-2.
I think four a little generous, but
yeah, Tom will take that.
Yeah, exactly.
But I think some horses just take longer to establish the flying changes than others. And as I say, I think as well when they move up from old 3-star to 4-star, where the changes come in, it's a big jump.
Just looking at Tom's first serpentine, you can see when he crosses the centre line, he is definitely perpendicular to the centre line.
Yeah.
So that is what the judges are looking for here. They're not looking for a diagonal line, they're looking for him to cross the centre line straight. And he's done that very well.
They normally have one change better than another. Okay.
A work in progress.
It did come off.
Late to the aid and bum high. So we don't say bum high, croup high. But Tom will say the horse is just young and green, but I mean you can see this horse is so quality.
Yes, very nice looking horse.
She's only a 9-year-old, and as I say, only stepped up to the level this year. She's actually a horse that I had admired out eventing last year, and you can just tell the quality and her future career really will be exceptional. No better man on board as well. Tom currently ranked as world number 4, team gold from the World Championships last year, and he completes his test with CHF Coolizer and will confirm his score for you. But our first 3 combinations all very much trending around 35, so 35.4. Matthews Kemper, the one to beat at the moment. But I think that was a good example, Mark, of a rider only asking his horse for as much as he knew she was ready to give him.
Yeah, the horse has come away with a really good experience. Tom will probably say when we speak to him in a minute, he knows the changes aren't established yet. Sometimes they come off, sometimes they don't. And then when you put them in a show environment, it doesn't. He will not be panicked. He has a lovely, lovely horse.
Yeah. Well, it'll be really interesting. 34.9. So we'll confirm that with Tom in just a second. 34.9. He is the current leader as things stand at the moment. And you guys judging along at home, 34.2. Let's go and hear Tom's thoughts on that test.
Tom McEwen. 34.9. She might be green at that level, but what a mare.
Yeah, I think this time next year should be completely different. We can do clean changes. We did them outside, and I probably should have braved it and just turned off and gone straight in with her today. Because yeah, just as soon as we come a little bit behind the leg, it comes a little bit of a tricky test. But yeah, absolutely super delighted with her. Heck of a lot to work on. Yeah, and I always knew she was never going to be up the top. But as we know from previous years here at Jardy, it's usually a great big show jumping, and it looks like a very tough track cross country. So.
There were a couple of moments, especially with the rain back, I saw you shaking your head in frustration. But, you know, she's only 9.
Yeah, well, no, she knows how. Yeah, they're all weak points for us. They can be done properly, but yeah, we haven't got them, so they're nailed on 100% all the time. So yeah, plenty to work on, and yeah, just it's progress and learning, and yeah, to be part of the sport.
And a promising future. Good luck, Tom.
Thank you very much.
Well, Tom McEwen gives us our score to beat. 34.9 goes into the lead with the inexperienced CHF equaliser on the mare's first Event Rider Masters appearance. But the crowds have been building here in Jardy, and we now welcome a young lady making her Event Rider Masters debut. It is Anna-Katharina Vogel and DSP Quintana P. Now, this is a combination that I am really rooting for, particularly in the jumping phases. They are my dark horses for the competition put up on the Eventing podcast this week, because they are exceptional in those jumping phases. Only 22 years of age, this young lady, but this 12-year-old mare, by quality, very good in the jumping phases, as I say. They've won at the level below, and they were 8th at Marbach at this level this spring, just a few weeks ago on their last international completion. So in the studio with me, Blythe Tate, Mark Ruddock. If you are just joining us here in Jardy, leg 4 of the 2019 Event Rider Masters Series, Anna-Katharina Vogel and DSP Quintana P.
You could see the difference in the horse's actually strength into that hole compared to Tom's.
It was direct.
Could have been straighter, but you know,
but the move off was a little crooked. But you know, it was a good start.
They actually scored a personal best at Marbach in the first phase this year, 32.3.
And that medium trot was nice. It was like energetic. There was a clear difference. The rhythm stayed the same. I think she's having trouble with the angle of the shoulder in there.
A little bit of irregularity in the outline, and now the tension is coming in. It's always hard to get back into trot half past once you have broken, because the aids are very similar to the canter strike off.
Yeah. And it's such a shame, because it would just then indicate the horse is slightly, as we call, behind the leg, that it's actually gone a little bit inward, a little bit shy in this environment. And you can have the best horse in the warm-up, and then you get it round the edge, and it suddenly becomes... And then we've got tension in the mouth.
The halt wasn't quite square because of the preparation, so unfortunately not going as planned.
And then she'll be very cautious in this half pass. She'll just be like, I won't ask for very much bend. We'll just get away with it.
And there's something to be said for that as well, because it's not throwing marks away. She's ended up with an average score instead of a bad score.
Yeah. And then again, it's the walk that really shows. We haven't seen a relaxed walk yet that's gone, like, again, it's true and regular, and it's 4-beat. But the judges can't go any more than a 6.5 because the frame. And you can see the tension in the mouth there. She has a little toss of her head. And is she a mare, Nicole?
She is.
She just gave a cheeky little...
Well, Hans Meltzer was watching on there, the German national team coach just in the background. Huge strength and depth in young talent in Germany.
So again, tactfully into the transition. Could have been straighter. But you can see due to the lack of tension, the horse really lacks bend. And then this Serpentine's tricky, Blythe, isn't it, when you're on a 10th horse?
Yeah, I mean, she's done a very good job. She's ridden the shape well, and she's kept the horse nice and forward.
Good change?
One of the better ones we've seen so far.
Yeah, could be better, but it was a correct change. They will have it for being a little bit down in the pole. And
So she's got 6.64 for that. We see 4 quite often traditionally when a change is late behind or not correct.
But to be fair,
was clean?
It was clean, but the Judgedy is sitting right directly behind, so it's hard for them to see.
So it could have been very crooked, it could have been very crooked, or it could have been he's directly behind. So.
Wow, ground jury here. President at C, Eric Leby; at M, Christina Klingspor for Sweden; and at B, Les Smith for Great Britain.
I mean, the horse is very secure in his counter-canter, or her counter-canter.
Well, she gives a lovely rhythm, and you can see why it can trend low 30s. Because it's the mover. That's better. It's more rideable. Now, they may, if I saw it again, I might think it was late in front.
Yeah.
See, that isn't something you see as often, is it?
No, it's a very rare. As the fault goes, you would prefer a late in front as a retraining fault than late behind, because actually at least late in front means the hind leg is coming through. But we'll wait to see what did they say.
Well, Anna Katharina Vogel and DSP Quintana P on her Event Rider Masters debut, coming forward to salute to our ground jury. Very talented young rider, actually made an appearance for the German junior team here at the European Championships in Jardy. That was a few years ago, back in 2013 with Quintana P. Finished 4th individually, just missing out on an individual medal on that occasion. But a very talented young lady. And Anna Katharina Vogel, DSP Quintana P. And this is a horse, Mark, that really excels in the jumping phases as well. She'll be looking to climb that leaderboard slightly.
Well, totally. She'll be very disappointed because actually she still managed a very good score on 2 big mistakes. Yeah, she'll be I'm disappointed for her.
Well, you're disappointed on her behalf. It'll be interesting to see what this young lady says. Of course, a big atmosphere here, making her Event Rider Masters debut. 37.3 her score, and we'll go and hear her thoughts with Hannah.
And Katerina, congratulations. How was that for you?
Well, it was not the test I hoped for. She was too hot, and yes.
It's not easy, is it? It's a very atmospheric arena. There's a lot going on. There's a lot of people watching.
No, she was too hot, and then the trot was not good, and yeah, sad.
You're 22. You have a very promising career ahead of you, though, especially with this horse.
Yes, she's a very good horse. She is genial. She is perfect in the X-Cross and in the show jumping. And at this year, dressage is okay, but not very good.
Okay, well, good luck for the next 2 phases.
Thanks. Thanks a lot.
Well, she'll be looking forward to the jumping phases. And next to come forward, it is Tom Crisp. Tom rides at Liberty and Glory, owned by Robin Balfour and Sophie Crisp, family-owned horse. This 12-year-old mare by Caratino Glory, actually out of a mare called Little Runnymede, who Sophie, Tom's wife, actually competed up to advanced level. So homebred by the family, and she has been a real superstar for the Crisp family. She's not always the easiest in the first phase. She's very quirky, but exceptionally talented, and actually climbed a huge number of places from 54th after dressage in Pau last year to actually finish 6th individually in the 5-star. So exceptionally talented, but definitely a mare who knows her own mind. All the best ones do, though, I'd say, Blythe.
They do indeed, and that's actually what makes them good, because they do have a mind of their own, so they contribute to the equation. But
she's just making Tom be very, very gentlemanly, I'd say, up there. He's sort of asking he knows he wants a little bit more power. He knows he needs more suppleness, but you can see again we get a little bit tension in the mouth, and the medium trot doesn't look like the most comfortable to sit on because she's a bit solid and like tight in her back where she holds her tension. And so they want more ground because it becomes a little bit runny towards the end. But again, because she just needs to breathe, the rein back will be interesting on a tense horse. She can stand still. She did that to prove me wrong.
Not bad at all, and definitely in diagonals, which is what the judges want to see.
But actually, she's looking like she's taking a breath actually, because this shoulder in's better than on the other rein. But suddenly, halfway through a test, the horse can take a breath, can't it? And you're like, you've come to the party.
And there was no doubt that the previous horse got better and better as the test progressed, which is always good.
And then she just needs, you can see her being sort of chatting away to herself in the contact, in the walk. But like, I'm having a nice day out, Dad. And he's like, could you just relax, please, and take your neck forward?
Well, but up until S, of course, it is medium walk, and then from S across the diagonal, extended walk.
Yeah.
So you want to keep them round and in the contact, and then hopefully them take the contact forward and extend their step across the diagonal, and then back into the medium without creating tension before the canter strike off.
I would say very, very, very well ridden through there.
Yeah.
And I presume being homebred, he knows her quirks.
Absolutely. She's exceptionally talented, and I think she's more than proved herself for the family. Harry and Hugo watching on, a real Team Chris family affair here this weekend, of course, along with wife Sophie. Welcomed daughter Hermione a little bit earlier on this year as well. Just a little bit fragile in that part of the counter-canter mark.
Yeah, I think Tom may be dreading this next movement. When he has to put his leg on. Okay.
She likes to prove you wrong, Mark.
She does. And Tom won't mind her proving me wrong. It's fine.
Absolutely not. Well, this mare actually really pulling out all the stops, because she's averaged a dressage score of 37.0 from her last 5 international runs. So trending well below that at the moment.
I mean, she has lovely energy and lovely like sort of wanting to do attitude, but she just needs to take a little more breath to be a bit more supple.
Exactly.
And that's when the higher marks come from in the half passes and things. Like here, she does need to be rounder. But you can see she's like, "Hi everyone." It's like everyone's come to see me.
Just shaving the corner off because of that, so that he doesn't take any risks.
To be fair, for half a mark, it's worth it to protect the canter.
Totally. Yeah, go for a 6.5 rather than a 4 or a 3. Yeah. She was like, just had to have a little word. She was just tied to the aid. Would be the comment there. He put his leg on and she was like, how very dare you?
If I was Tom though now, I'd say, right, the worst of it's over, so I'm going to be very bold in this extended canter, which he did. He showed more impulsion in that than on the other rein.
But it's the crookedness as she comes back.
Yeah, and the transition was quite early.
Yeah.
But he'll be pretty pleased, I would think.
Well, Tom Crisp, Liberty and Glory, I think he'll be pleased with that test. This mare, not always the easiest, but so talented. And Harry and Hugo clapping on in support. Nice family weekend out for them. And we'll get a confirmed score for Liberty and Glory very shortly, but should be our new leaders. And I think he did a masterful job, actually, in persuading Liberty and Glory that she does like dressage. She can go and do the jumping tomorrow. And that's a good, respectable score from them.
I think he did a very, very good job. She's a lovely, lovely mare. And I'm sure, like, at home, he's like, why can't you just take that breath? Because I would say she's like she has a very competitive mark in her with a breath.
Well, 33.8 for Tom Crisp and Liberty and Glory, and that sees them go to the top of the leaderboard. You guys at home actually very close to agreeing with members of our ground jury. 33.3 you would have. I don't know where Tom's going. We'll go and find out with Hannah.
Tom Crisp, 33.8. That's superb, and she was brilliant.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, no, it's probably a PB for us. We've been working hard on it since badminton. So it's great for her to go out there and be relaxed and be able to produce some movement, you know.
That's significantly lower than what you've averaged over your last few internationals. So what have you been doing differently, Tom?
Oh, I don't know. I think just keep going as we are, and we've been working hard, and the whole team have been working hard. You know, she's got a highly strung mare, very talented, and I think if you can just get her to go, it's just the dressage, and then she can show off her paces, you know, more as they should be. But
your number one fan is here, Hugo. How was that for you?
It was fine.
Fine.
Awesome.
Brilliant.
Wow, brilliant. Top critic.
Any advice for Dad?
Finish on it.
Keep the polls up tomorrow.
Yeah? No, it was fine.
It was fine. It was fine. There you go. Good luck tomorrow, Tom.
Thank you.
We're never going to give Dad too much praise. It was fine, Dad. You were okay. And keep the polls up tomorrow. Very, very good advice from Hannah, because if they can finish on that score, then that would be seeing them in a very competitive position. Well, the crowd's here enjoying all of the dressage action from the Orangery and watching on over the dressage arena. If you're just joining us, then in the studio with me, double world champion Blythe Tate and List 1 international dressage judge Mark Ruddock, giving us their expert insight into the competition. And this gentleman is a man who has very good form here at the venue. It is Karim Florent Leguarc, and he comes forward with Punch de l'Esque. Karim actually part of that French team who took team gold at the Rio Olympic Games. And this is a horse that is 16 years of age now, and a horse that went very, very well in the 2018 season. So unlucky to miss out on the selection for the Tryon World Equestrian Games in September through injury, but was top 10 at Aachen in that hugely competitive field a little under 12 months ago. A horse that has actually been third here previously back in 2015 and fourth in 2017 as well. So good course form. And Karim, a man who absolutely loves to play up to the French crowd. Bit of a showman.
Quite a character.
Bit about that first hold with the horse resting a hind leg. They'll the judge at E will severely punish that. The other two may not have seen it. It just lacks, sort of indicates a bit laziness, really.
And sometimes tension. But, yep, the judges saw it.
And I would say, and again, like that first hold lacking engagement into it, and that same in the medium trot, really, doesn't really use his hind legs enough. And then it makes Karim slightly rush the rhythm. He's having to use his legs a little bit. I think we've got a polar opposite, but some horses can actually go shy and go lazy, can't they? And go like, I don't like it in here. I'm going to actually just put my head down, and just needs more from the back end. So what I mean by that is like the hind leg is actually where the engine is, and actually the engine needs to push more.
And again, you see the horse rather dragging his feet back rather than lifting his feet back there, which just, as you say, just shows that the horse isn't quite sharp to the leg.
I think he's going to come out the sweatiest rider we've had so far.
He is being very positive and riding the horse very forward, though, so the horse is certainly allowing him to do that. We might see a good walk.
Well, that's what he'll be hoping. So we're looking for the change of frame here, and that the horse then starts to take the nose forward, which he is, and at the ground cover, and we get the over track where the hind leg should go beyond where the front leg was. See where the front leg imprints, the hind leg should come beyond it, and it does.
And I think I may have talked a bit of rubbish before, because I think the extended walk starts from the quarter marker, so I was wrong, and
he showed it clearly,
right.
actually.
Yes, I mean, there was a good transition.
How important is it? Because it's so specific often in the tests where movements start and finish, Mark, to know that test inside out.
It's just, it's lazy riding not to know the marker to marker, because that's what the judge, and it's the detail. And at this level, the detail matters. And I think those other riders didn't have the walks to be able to show us the difference. Would you not say?
Accuracy is really
Yeah.
important, and I mean, anyone can do a transition, but can you do it on the marker? Because that's when you have to do it. So you have to be ready and in a good balance, and the horse has to be with you, and so accuracy is vital.
But I think the other riders didn't have the walks available to show us the transitions where he did. It was a nice flying change, but it was not very well presented across the arena.
No, but to get the really high marks, it needed to come much more up off the floor. It was rather a sort of flat change. It was clean.
See, for me, the whole canter looks like it looks like it's cantering on a heavy surface, where it needs to look like it's cantering on a trampoline. It needs to bounce more.
Karim's team watching on closely. This is a horse actually who, from 10 runs at this level, averages 37.2 in the dressage, so he's well below that at the moment here.
Yeah, and I would say it's just because of the lack of sort of engagement and activity and sort of sparkle.
Yeah, but again, a consistent test, so therefore he's not throwing any marks away. He hasn't really made a major mistake, so that's why he's getting a good solid score.
And you can see the horse is very well trained, the change is very on the aid, but I just want a bit more
lift.
Je ne sais quoi. I don't even know what that means. Just lift. And we're looking for an extended canter, which that was modest. More ground cover, the horse just went faster.
Rather than the stride lengthening, it just got quicker.
It just got quicker.
Well, Karim Florent Leguag, who was on the podium here 2 years ago, that was with his wonderful stallion Entebbe de Us, completes his test here. Big smile and a nice fist pump from Karim as well. He loves the French crowd, and actually this is a very good score for the horse, 32.9, trending at the end of their test, so should go ahead of Tom Crisp, Liberty and Glory, and should go into the lead here for France. So Karim, pleased with that test, and his interviews are always a real highlight for me. I have to admit, I'm going to be looking forward to this one with Hannah in just a second. But Mark, that was a good solid test with no major mistakes.
No, it was a clear round which showed actually the horse was well trained, just needed a little bit more energy, a little bit more activity for just add it, and that's when the marks come out. It was mechanical.
Yeah, I mean, he's certainly looking very pleased with it. So for the mare, I think it wasn't a bad test.
Well, Karim always excels in his Event Rider Masters interviews. Hannah, I'm expecting big things from this one.
Karim Leguag, what was that? A 32.5. Where's your victory dance?
I'm very, very happy. My horse is unbelievable. Good horse. Super.
She was brilliant.
Thank you, Event Rider Master. Thank you for the sound. It's small for my horse is perturbé. Hein? Super, calme, formidable. Et no, fini ça, terminé. On a un petit pour le fun.
I think in English that means you don't like loud music. Thank you for keeping it very quiet and calm for the horse. Yes. Yeah? Yes. Okay, lovely. Tomorrow, you're going to smash it? Are we going to see you?
Finish calm for the cross. Yeah. Expression là, c'est bon, expression, yeah.
Marvellous, Karim. I've missed you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Merci beaucoup.
I have to admit, I'm glad Hannah's translation of Karim is better than mine, but he is such a character, and we'll be looking forward to seeing him in the jumping phases. Michael Young, who won here 2 years ago, that was with Star Connection. He's a winner already this year with Star Connection in Wiesbaden. Kriva Cooley, the horse he brings forward. Mark, this is a test we've been looking forward to.
It is, because he's a master, and that's all there is to say about him.
Absolutely.
And he sprinkles talent dust on everything. A really good start. I think he could have maybe gone for more power in the medium trot. That shoulder in could be a little bit more angled, but we've got a lovely rhythm. The horse has a nice uphill carriage. I would like more bend to get me into the eighth.
Yeah, but the way that this horse is going, we're seeing more engagement and more impulsion.
like there when we were saying earlier about the hind leg. See, the hind leg is what is pushing there, and that developed really nicely. And again, Nicole, is this first time?
No, so it would be their first completion at the level. A new ride for Mickey, only took on the mare in May. So very much a new ride, new combination, and they've not yet completed. They actually had a horse fall at Le Moulin in the German National Championship, so hence why they are unseeded in the dressage.
No, that would be, so you would be thinking that's why he's been a little bit cautious with what he can ask for in the test. It was interesting that after that rein back, he never really got the horse back into the connection, into the contact. So the shouldering was a little bit mouthy, and then we had rhythm trouble but it started from the rein back.
And Mickey is a professional at presenting a test, and we talked about accuracy earlier, and he's done everything, marker to marker.
Mickey's dad watching on has been a huge part in his career.
Best walk we've seen of the morning. The horse actually wants to go to that marker P rather than dawdling across.
Oops, and then a little crooked.
And then then we just get the little detail marks there with the crookedness, which then knocks a mark off. I think 6.5 was harsh for that extended walk.
Now this horse actually scored 25.6 in Le Moulin in the German National Championships.
I would say the tension's creeping in a little bit now. Like, she needs to be more supple, and she's not really being really through, and accepting the contact. Like there, he's saying to her, you need to be a little bit rounder. And then she's getting a little bit against him because the mouth's opening, like there.
How can they stop that? Can a rider do anything to...
Well, it's really an indication of the submission and how comfortable in the contact the horse is. So the horse will get definitely better with mileage and experience.
And some days it's just the day that's in it, isn't it? And he was trying to relax her, but you can see like the neck is too short, and there needs to be a bigger space between her chin and her chest. And you can see she's very grit. He's not able to not control, that's not the right. He's not able to position the half pass there because she's a little bit like, Dad, I'm doing this without you. It would be a lot worse with somebody else on, I can tell you.
Yeah.
He's still, we're being really critical. I'm sort of getting critical as to why he's not into the 8s. But this horse has massive marks in it when it has more relaxation and more acceptance of the contact.
Can I give you an incredible Michael Young stat?
Go on.
So Echo Ratings obviously give us all the data coming into the competition, and from 106 starts at this level of competition since 2008, he averages from 106 starts 26.0.
Well, that is impressive.
26.
I mean, he is really quite remarkable in this first phase, and I think he'll be a little bit frustrated perhaps that he hasn't been quite as far into the 20s as he would have liked with Kruva Cooley. A new ride for him this year. Only took on the horse from a young Swedish rider in May. Kitty King actually produced the mare over in Great Britain, but still a very competitive starting score, trending at 30. We'll confirm that score for you as soon as it does come through. But Michael Young, the winner here 2 years ago, that was with Star Connection. Kruva Cooley, his ride in 2019. And it should be the first combination I think we see go into the 20s. But Mark, you said it in that you were being almost extra critical because it was on. You're looking for the next level there.
Yes, and as a judge, you don't come in. You're not overmarking him to start with, but it's like I will say to people why it's not in the 8s, why it's not in the 9s. This horse is a 9, 8, 10, 8, 9, 10 horse, and I just want people to see why it's not getting them. And people are like, oh, well, the other horses went better than this, like the previous horse, when the score comes out.
I think a horse with plenty of potential, though. You can see that the quality is there.
Well, 29.3, he is our new leader. He won here 2 years ago. Let's hear from him with Hannah.
Michael Young, the first sub-30 that we've seen here, 29.3. How are you with that?
Yeah, I'm in the first group, so I'm not so happy today because she was not like she's normally. Where many mistakes, but very good horse, and I think we get more experience together, and was a okay test.
You've only been together since May this year. It's not a lot of time.
Yeah, exactly. But she's a really good horse, and we're working together. And it's an animal and not a computer. So every day is a bit different. Today she was a bit tense and not really listening to me. But we're getting every day. I feel we improve together. She's learning, and we're getting together to good partnership. So that's the most important thing.
Okay, well, best of luck for the future with your partnership with her.
Thank you.
And we're going to come to you now and see what you think of those ratings.
Well, look, a little bit of fun. We've got 3 tests left to go before the coffee break. I'm going to give you the scores before they happen. I think we're going to be reasonably close. I had Michael Young 31.7, but you have to take into account that, that they had been lower than that. 34.6 I'm going for in the next test. 31.8, and then Alex Bragg on 33 with Alcatraz. There's the 3 scores. Hopefully I can be right. Nicole, I'm sure you'll be on them. 34.6 coming up.
Well, I have to admit, I always love it when Dan makes a strong prediction because it gives us something concrete on to follow, and we'll be looking forward to that in a few moments' time. So Tiziana Rollini coming in next with 2 Blue de Rouet of the Swiss combinations in the field. 2 Swiss combinations in the lineup here in Jardy. And Echo Rating saying she's going to score 34.6. Making her Event Rider Masters debut here this weekend. And currently ranked as number 100 in the world. So Tiziana Rollini coming forward next to go. And she's just being a little bit strategic just before she goes into the arena, Mark, just doing a couple of walk pirouettes there.
Yeah, and I think she obviously didn't feel... They do have 45 seconds, which actually is quite a long time. And I think she just thought, actually, I'm just going to make you around my inside leg a little bit more, maybe spooked into the camera, and took a breath herself.
And that was a very good transition to the halt, and a good, nice square halt.
That was the best centre line we have seen. But I'm drawn straight away to the horse being shot in the neck, and he needs to take his nose forward. The legs are quite expressive, but his frame needs to be more longer.
A little bit deep, a little bit behind the vertical, and the pole not quite the highest point.
And we have this saying that people never know. Self-carriage is what they'll be writing there, which means if the reins snapped, what would the horse do? And you have the feeling this horse's head would fall off.
Bit harsh.
Okay, but
it might lower.
It might lower, but you want the horse to be light. That the rein is only there as elastic, which is such a shame because actually the horse really moves, but you can see he gets onto her hand here. So again, they're going about engagement, self-carriage, which is engagement. He needed the weight behind, so he's lighter in the hand.
Not quite square in the front in the halt, but the hind leg was right up nicely up underneath it.
I mean, I was surprised it could halt like that out of the medium trot it had done. But horses are surprising creatures. The angle there is far too wide. It's meant to be 3 tracks. You can see it was 4. But she rides him positively forwards, because she's trying to get the hind leg to actually work. But it's probably tension again. On the TV, it doesn't look as claustrophobic as it really is, this arena, does it?
There's a lot going on around the outside. And often the horses, when they're working in, they're with other horses, and so they feel really comfortable, and then they come out and they're on their own, and they say, where's all my friends gone? And they get a little bit of stage fright.
I mean, her walk steps were very, very good, but sadly, she won't get near the 8 because he was tucking behind the vertical. So the overtrack was fantastic, but the nose needs to be more forwards. And if she could just keep him up there with pull the highest point. but some horses can be better in the canter than the trot.
Yeah.
So this is a much better frame.
Well, Echo Rating said 34.6, so she's in the right ballpark for Derm at the moment. And actually, as she comes round to this first flying change, we're going to go and listen in with one of the members of our ground jury, Les Smith, who's currently situated at B. We're going to listen to his comments and mark on this flying change.
.0 and 7.0.
Well, Les Smith just giving those 2 marks and 7s across the board for Tiziana.
I'm thinking that Derm's mark could be a little bit in danger now because the canter has definitely been better than the trot.
Totally, and this change was very secure. For any more than a 7, you want a little bit more engagement. I might have gone 7.5 because I thought it was very smooth, very easy, and on the aid. But I think Derm does need to be scared because actually the canter work is of a higher quality than the trot.
Well, this accommodation, who from 6 runs at this level average at 36.8, so beating their average by some 3 penalties as well.
So she rode that, she prepared it, but she sort of rode backwards, so the change was a little flat and lacked the same sort of stride of the canter, but it'd be 6.5 to a 7. But the horse actually allowed her. So
good transition into the extended canter.
So the horse shows me the horse can engage, and I think when she gets the same quality of engagement and the frame in the trot, she should drop below 30.
Well, as she comes up her final centre line, she is going to beat the expected score. Big smiles from Tiziana on her Event Rider Masters debut. A big hug for Tout Bleu de Rouet as well. And she's trending 33.0. Big year for her with those European Championships in Le Moulin a little bit later on. One of 2 Swiss combinations that we have in the field. And we'll get her score confirmed for you as soon as possible. But very much into one of the best marks that she has ever scored at this level of competition, and big pats for Tout Bleu de Rouet as they exit the arena. So we'll confirm that score for you in just a second, but it's nice to see her giving the horse a lot of love, and we'll go to Hannah.
Tiziana, what a test that was. You look absolutely delighted.
Yes, I'm very happy with the horse. Was very good, and I'm also very grateful to be here. It's so beautiful journey, and first time for me the CRM, and yeah, I'm very happy.
How was the atmosphere? It's lovely to have you here in the ARM. This is obviously your first ever Event Rider Masters. Has the atmosphere made a difference, or are you just enjoying being here?
Yes, different, because it's another thing. I don't know how I have to say that, but very much people will look at me, and yes, very another atmosphere, yes. With the best rider for the world. Is
33.7 was your score. Congratulations, Tiziana.
Thank you.
Well, delighted for her, and Echo Racing's confirming that we were looking at around 2 penalties better than expected marks for each of our combinations, which means that the next rider to come forward could be one to challenge the leader, which is currently Michael Young, who is the only one to have gone sub 30 so far. And I have to admit, it's one of my favourites from Arville. It is Jureg Lecoz and Esprit de la Loge, and this is a horse that was so impressive on his Event Rider Masters debut in Arville. Finished 6th there, actually scored 36.9 in the first phase. Only a 9-year-old, stepped up to the level last year, went very well at Blenheim in the 8 and 9-year-old class for a top 25 finish, but really very much building in confidence, and a horse that I'm looking forward to watching, particularly in the jumping phases this weekend. Jurek Lecause, Esprit de la Loge for France, 29.3 the score for them to beat. And a little bit of Bruno Mars as a soundtrack. What more could we want?
This horse just has so much presence, and when I was being horrible about the chestnut horse earlier about lacking sparkle, this has sparkle, just born with sparkle.
My slight criticism with the halt, as opposed to some of the others, was almost a bit abrupt.
Yeah.
And as we saw, the horse was wide behind as a consequence. So, but yeah, lovely light forward way of going, and very energetic.
But it's like natural energy. You know, very well positioned there in the shoulder into the half pass, but I think we're having a little spook at the judges' box at sea, so we're losing sort of the softness and roundness.
And the quarters trail just a fraction.
And he's not really able to use his corners. Sound like some old riding instructor about corners. But, you know.
But again, a lovely type of horse, and, you know, just looks all about energy.
Halting's not his favourite thing.
Getting nervous for him about. I'm getting nervous for him about the walk, because I think the horse is starting to pick up on the atmosphere.
And Bruno sounds very loud.
Yeah. Good angle in the shoulder in.
It's just this spookiness down to this end. You can see where he's now having to actually kick, and the horse is trying to hollow and comes stiff against him. And then, so this is the test. Okay.
I think the horse is taking a breath.
Yeah.
Good.
But this horse is very similar to Michael's. It's like just oozes class, and they slightly get the judges. They make the judges give them marks just because. Look at me. You know.
Presence.
Don't you? Yeah, just presence. You know, you want to give me marks, just give me them.
Yeah.
You know.
But by the same token, with the extra energy and the big movement, you know, a mistake appears more obvious when it happens. So it's managing that.
And I think you're more vulnerable to mistakes with the big movement and the balance, because actually, it can bite you in the bum, where a slightly flatter horse doesn't make the mistakes. You know, this canter is gorgeous.
I would describe this horse as my kind of horse, to be honest. It's very athletic, and I just love the energy that the horse gives to the rider.
And like this canter, I always say, like, canter should look like it's cantering over a beach ball, and this looks like it's cantering over like a great big beach ball. And you'd expect. Okay.
I mean, yeah, it could have
He
been
got
a
on the
little
wrong
bit more
stride,
forward,
really.
but it was clean.
It was clean, but I think he got his slightly timing wrong, how he's carried the strides off the wall. But I mean, just like how when we're going about uphill, like the horse's bum sits and the front end comes up like the speedboater in water analogy, and this is, or a jet plane.
On a jet plane.
Yeah. I bet it's fun to ride.
He has gone sub 30 on his trending scores. This is going to be definitely one to keep an eye on. It could be a personal best at this level of competition as well for the horse. And it could challenge our leader of Michael Young.
He sits very well, doesn't he?
Yeah. I mean,
okay. I mean, they're clean, they lack sort of fluency, really. But this horse has easily got a nine flying change in there.
Yeah,
And only a 9-year-old.
Oh, there we
so
go.
very much establishing at the level.
I will allow that, Nick.
You'll let them off the hook.
I will let them off the hook.
You will. Well, Jurek Lecause, Esprit de la Loge, who impressed on their Event Rider Masters debut in Arville just a few weeks ago. They finished in 6th place there. Can they go even closer to the podium here in Jardy? Well, they're challenging our leader, and they should be going to the top of the leaderboard at the lunch break as things stand. Jurek Lecause, Esprit de la Loge will get a score for them, but that was a very smart test and a personal best for the horse at this level.
Yeah, I mean, it is quality. It is Yeah, give that another year.
A bit of tension in the trot. The canter definitely got better, and I mean, definitely for me, the impulsion and the forwardness was the best we've seen this morning.
I think give it another year. It's going to be
Incredible. Shamazing. There we go. Heard it here first. Well, we'll get their score. Chirag Lacoste and Esprit de la Loge, but they will go, I think, into the lead. Michael Young, the current leader. Kriva Cooley on 29.3 and 28.3 is Esprit de la Loge's score with Chirag. So that would see them go to the top of the leaderboard as things stand. Just one more combination to go before the lunch break. And as we head towards a third of the way through the dressage here in leg 4 of the Event Rider Masters in Jardy. This young man is the new clubhouse leader. Chirag Lacoste is with Hannah.
Yeah, it's great. Very happy. It was much more relaxed and it felt very good. Very good.
You look very happy.
Yeah.
It's a personal best for you.
Yes, I think so. Yeah, at this level definitely, and it's 8 points better than our big 3 weeks ago. So super.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Well, Chirag, the one to beat at the moment, 28.3. Echo rating said 31.8. So some 3 marks, so over 3 marks better than their prediction. But next to come forwards, it is Alex Bragg. Alex just making the final preparations to his warm-up. Comes forward with Alcatraz, owned by Sarah Hughes. Alex currently ranked 16 in the world, comes here on a podium finish in Le Moulin just a few weeks ago in the 5-star, long-listed for the European Championships for Team GB. And of course, he is the defending Jardy Event Rider Masters champion. 12 months ago, with Zagreb, he scored a career personal best in the dressage, 23.6 on that occasion. This horse that is not quite as established in those low numbers in the first phase as Zagreb, but one that is very much an exciting prospect for the future for Alex. Has really done very well in the indoor derbies over the winter months as well, to both Paris and Geneva, I think it was as well. But, very good in the jumping phases. But Alex in exceptional form. He wants to defend that Jardy title. Happy with that start, Mark?
Best halt.
Best halt we've seen.
I think we don't feel they're quite straight, but because our camera's not on top of C.
Yeah, we should say that our camera isn't looking directly behind C, so we aren't looking directly for straightness.
Yeah. So, but I think it was a very good halt. I think, like here, the horse could have Alex had to make the horse go across that diagonal.
The horse was holding itself in its frame a little bit, and so therefore there was a bit of quickening. You'd like the horse to just take the contact a bit more forward.
But it's quite a big movement, actually, isn't it? Extended trot as your first movement. Straight away. The other test is better because actually you do something first.
Good
is that better for the riders or for the judges, Mark? Because the judges like to...
I think the riders would prefer not to do an extended trot first movement, I'd say. Because if you're on a tense horse...
I'm just thinking that maybe some of these riders shouldn't pick such jazzy music as well.
Well, Alex Bragg riding to Sexy and I Know It. I mean...
Not square behind. And unfortunately, you could see there that the reinback wasn't in diagonals. They were rather broken, so it was one step at a time.
And the trouble is, when you don't halt, when you start your reinback out of an unsquare halt, you're risking that territory, aren't you? Because you're not going to go diagonal.
Have given it a 7, so...
What do we know? But for all we're going, it's very rhythmical. It's very forward. Just for me, could be more supple. And I think that's why we're not getting into the 8s. Yeah,
good walk, like that,
and clear transitions. And you can see, like Alex is actually with his hands encouraging the horse to take his nose forwards. This is a good thing, by the way, not a bad thing.
Yeah.
He's encouraging the horse to take your nose forwards, and he did.
Oops, coming away from the track. And he got away with it.
Yeah. You know, and to be fair, like, this level of rider, they do make it look like they just point a little bit and this is where they're going. And this is what it is meant to look seamless. And you can see Alex just makes these little minute adjustments to the balance there across the middle of the arena to engage the horse in readiness for hopefully a good flying change. And it was a very good flying change. But you could see the preparation he did through the Serpentine.
I do think that Alex is one of the most improved riders internationally in the last couple of years, and he's riding with a real confidence because he has several horses now at this level. And,
well, and he started
the
late.
Results.
I mean, if you go back to sort of his kind of explosion onto the top level of the sport, it was Poe, I think, 3-4 years ago. And since then, he's really just expanded. I mean, he was a farrier by trade, and he's only really taken on top-level event horses at 5-star level in the last few years.
Didn't he take the ride over his wife's horse while she was pregnant?
Yes, so Zagreb was previously campaigned by his wife,
Well, I can definitely remember picking Alex up off the ground at Houghton, and when he'd fallen, and he said to me, "What did I do wrong?" And I said, "Well, basically, you fell off."
I think that was another good flying change, but we went to crowd.
Well, wife Simone watching on.
I think that flying change should make his score drop below the 30s now.
Well, this could be a very, very good score from 6.5, 6.5, 6.5. So Alex Bragg and Alcatraz. This, of course, the defending Jardy champion. And he should be going into the top 3 after the first phase. This is a big performance from this man in the dressage with this horse. Only recently stepped up to the level in 2019. And Alex will be pretty pleased with that, I think. A personal best for the horse at 4-star short level. Wife Simone watching on in the background, the team out here supporting him. His 3 girls at home, all very, very good riders as well. And Alex Bragg, Alcatraz, will confirm his score, but he should go into 3rd place behind Jureg Lecoz and behind Michael Young as things stand at the moment. But let's go and hear from the defending Jardy champion with Hannah.
Alex, what a great test.
Yeah, thrilled with him. You know, it's a few weeks ago in Arville, you know, we didn't get it quite right. Maybe the preparation was too long, especially in the warm weather. But today we were right on the edge, and I thought, God, is he too fresh? But he went in there, he was far more in front of my leg, and yeah, he did a really good, accurate test. He's not as, like, he's really nice to look at, a great picture. He's not as flashy as some of these other horses, but he was very correct, and he stayed with me and he tried, and he's a good jumper. So hopefully, you know, this afternoon people won't be too amazing, and we'll be close enough to be in with a chance tomorrow.
Well, you definitely wanted to be there or thereabouts. I'm just looking at your score. It looks like you're in sub 30, 29.8, Alex.
Yeah, no, that's nice. That's nice. That's really good, you know, and I'm so chuffed. He's only done a couple of this level. So, yeah, I mean, what a great job for a fairly inexperienced horse. And it's on the upward climb, like he's improving. And that's all we're happy with, is the score is great, but the performance is better, that the horses are always improving. And I'm chuffed, and hopefully we'll be close enough to give the French crowd, who are wild normally, something to really scream about for us tomorrow. So I'll try and wind them up for everybody. You know, I'm good at that stuff.
You certainly enjoyed winding them up last year, Alex. Good luck tomorrow.
Thank you, Hannah. Really appreciate it.
Alex really did enjoy the French crowd here 12 months ago, and he is well placed in 2019 as well. We've just seen him go into 3rd with Alcatraz. But our leader at the lunch break is Jureg Lecoz, Esprit de la Loge, a personal best for the horse at the level 28.2. Michael Young, a winner here 2 years ago. Kruber Cooley currently sitting in 2nd. Very good test from Karim Florent Leguag, Punch de Lesque on 32.5, and Tom Crisp, Liberty and Glory also impressing 33.8. You guys at home with the SAP Spectator judging app have been judging along with each of our combinations as well. And if you want to get involved after the lunch break, then you can do so. Just download it for free in your app store. So we are a 3rd of the way of the competition, and in the studio with me for this first session of Dressage, Blythe Tate, Mark Ruddock. Chaps, let's just take a moment to review the action so far, because Jireg Lacoste, he is our leader going into the lunch break. Esprit de la Loge, a horse you saw in Arville, Mark. What was the big difference in his test here that improved that mark?
I would say the experience from Arville with a 9-year-old 3 weeks on, that horse has taken something from Arville and actually just developed and come here with more confidence. 3 weeks is quite a big difference. From one massive venue to there, I think it's like, yeah, on a curve.
On a curve. And Blythe, from those combinations coming forward this morning, who stood out for you?
Well, I think the judges got it just right. I like the first few tests, the first 3 tests. They rewarded the horses that were working from behind and going forward and, fairly mistake-free. So I like the first couple of horses, the first 3 horses. I thought they were good.
And Michael Young went ahead 2 years ago. Mark, he was disappointed with his test. Should he be?
Well, he shouldn't be, because actually he's got another day. He can let somebody else.
Quite high expectations.
I love the way he's disappointed as sub-30, but and I completely agree with Blythe. I think the judging has been spot on.
Spot on. And that's a good point, actually, because with 3 members of the ground jury, they often come under a bit of a microscope.
Mm-hmm.
We get to see things all from the best angle. But they've done a good job this morning.
They've done a really good job. They've marked correct training. They've marked mistakes, but they've marked up as well. Yeah, I think the riders will be happy with this bunch.
Happy with this bunch. We're looking forward to this afternoon. We're going to come on to that very shortly. But he'd made some fairly strong predictions. Not quite sure how many of them came off, but we're still looking at 10 sub-33 so far. Derm, Echo Ratings Corner.
Loads of them came off, actually, Nicole. The reason that the panel are happy, the reason that the riders are happy, is because we've scored a little bit below expected. So compare that to Arville, when everybody was saying, "Oh, we deserve this, we deserve that." Actually, we're about 1.3 below expected scores, and if you use that 6 RA, so your last 6 runs, the average of your last 6 runs, any level, we're 1.5 below that. So average at the moment 33.3, and yes, absolutely we're going to see that drop as we go into the next phase. Stacks has been going well, 7 and 7. It's Nadine Brown and Robin Petty. That's the highest that we've seen. I think I'm on 2. I don't think our panel are doing much better than that, but 7 and 7 head to head in stacks right now. Some people really know their stuff from the first phase. Lots more questions, lots more excitement. Gemma Tattersall's going to lead this, and she's going to be sub 25, Nicole.
Well, sub 25. We will watch this space and see if she is, how many of them can do it this afternoon. Just as we head into this afternoon session, we've got some really, really good riders. Raphael Cochet gets us underway, but this next session, the likes of Janelle Price-Blythe, who is in that second place in the series, this is a big test for her in the first phase.
Yeah, definitely. As I say, it's a fairly new horse for her. She's had a couple of runs and been very solid. I'm not expecting her to be amongst the leaders in the dressage. I think she'll be close to the leaders, but she has every chance of jumping a double clear round.
And if she can get close to finishing on that dressage score, then she would be very happy. Let's take a look at how those combinations will be coming forward after the lunch break. And some big names from the offset. Felix Vogue, Calero, they were 6th in Kentucky this spring. Sydney Dufresne, Tresor Mail, best placing of 4th in Event Rider Masters. That was Barbary 2017, looking to impress the French selectors here, as are a number of other big names. Sebastian Cavaillon, Camille Lejeune with their 5-star partners. Sarah Cohen and Treason as well in the series hunt. Then these are the final 9 combinations to come forward. If you are just joining us, Chris Burton did withdraw Lawtown Chloe, hence why he is not on this running order. But some big names: Gemma Tattersall, Quick Look, Echo Rating saying sub 25, Thibaut Villette, King de Brio on Event Rider Masters podium previously, and the RBL winner Tim Price and Falco. So the big names are coming all throughout the afternoon sessions of dressage here in Jardy for leg 4 of the Event Rider Masters. Blythe Tate, Mark Ruddock in the studio with me. Guys, just one horse that you're really looking forward to seeing this afternoon. Blythe, start with you.
I have to say Quick Look. I think she could be the leader after the dressage.
Mark?
Well, I want Treason in my next session and then Quick Look in the last session.
Okay, fair enough. I'm actually going to say keep a very close eye on Emily King and Brookley, who finished 3rd behind Quick Look, Gemma Tattersall, Laura Collett, DeCappa, Bramham a little bit earlier on this year. I think they're in with a really good chance this weekend. But the thing is, we now have a lunch break, so you will not miss any of the action. We'll be back with all of this afternoon's dressage for you at 2:20. We go live. That is Central European time, so 1:20 if you're watching in the UK. We'll see you then. Thanks for watching.